all. This is Market Explainer. My name is Danny. I am joined always by the junior co-host, this guy, my good friend, the big man. We are America's #1 business news podcast. All right, before we jump into our next story, fascinating story, by the way, I want to tell you about Big Man Gear. Big Man Gear is this guy's t-shirt company. You can go to bigmangear.com. It'll take you to the Amazon Prime store. It's merch by Amazon. It's the big man's idea of funny merch, right?
Yeah. Like You Can't Abduct Big is one of my best-selling shirts. It's got an alien dragging a fat man. You can't abduct Big. You just can't do it.
Listen, I was on a weight loss plan, but it was my insurance company that said, you're actually a huge target for kidnapping. And they said, we would prefer if you didn't do that.
Yeah, you can't. So, it's much more difficult to abduct a bigger man. That's all.
That's correct. Try to put me in the back of a conversion van that I also happen to drive and live in.
Yes, try to drag you into a panel van. It's just not going to work. That's right.
So you can go to bigmangear.com. Link is always in the description. You go to Market Explainer. You can go see all of our lovely sponsors. This next story, and I'm just, listen, everything that's going on in our world today, I just want to say I'm glad that the feds have the opportunity to take a look at the claim that the McDonald's ice cream machines are always busted.
Yes, the article is the Federal Trade Commission has launched an investigation into the McDonald's ice cream machines and why they're down all the time. Okay, this is one of those stories where, okay, I agree with Danny. On the surface, it sounds really dumb. Does the FTC not have better things to do? But it's really not about McDonald's
right now,
and their ice cream machines.
Right now, there is a 93-year-old woman who's getting her life savings scammed away from her by a crypto Ponzi scheme. Right. The Federal Trade Commission is worried about the ice cream. But actually, look at the ice cream.
All right.
Chocolate chip. I got chocolate chip.
Before we get to what the actual part of this story that's relevant is, what I find great is there's a website set up in most metropolitan areas where you can go to this website and find out whether your local McDonald's machine is up and running or not. Right. The name of that online tool is McBroken.com.
Oh, man.
So if you want to know before you leave your house, hey, I'm craving a whatever, McFlurry, whatever it is, and you don't want to waste time going to the McDonald's just for it to be broken, you can go to McBroken.com and find out whether your local McDonald's is open.
Yeah,
but that's not the real story. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's like 6 months ago, I forget the guy's name, it's Johnny something. He had like a mini documentary where he just investigated this phenomenon of why is the McDonald's ice cream machine always broken?
Right.
And the kind of conclusion that he came to, and this is a really rapid summation, but the conclusion that he came to is basically that the maker of the ice cream machines that are used in McDonald's has an agreement with McDonald's corporate, not the franchisees, that forces the franchisees into buying one specific model of ice cream machine, which they in turn are the only ones who are allowed to service. And they create all these different scenarios where if it's 1 or 2% off, the machine just goes into a service mode, and the employees, which, hey, listen, we're talking about people who are making less than $8 an hour in most situations because they're making minimum wage. I don't expect these people to be technicians of ice cream machines. I don't expect them to be technicians of anything.
No, well, you're talking about a machine that obviously has a cleaning cycle, right? That they're supposed to run once a day. And that apparently really is with this particular machine is the problem, is it goes through a cleaning cycle once every 24 hours. If it gets stuck in that cleaning cycle for any reason whatsoever, it goes into, as you say, service mode, which then this contracting company, by contract, they can only call this one company, because that's the way it's laid out. Here's the real problem. The real problem is these kind of contracts. And by the way, it's not just McDonald's. I actually had a buddy of mine that owned batting cages. Right. And this company that he initially bought his pitching machines from had a very similar setup contract where he got them at a huge, when in comparison to other pitching machines, what looked like a discount. Right. And I don't care if I have to sign a contract where they also have to service them or whatever. What he didn't know at that time, that there was one mechanic for those machines in the entire state of Texas.
Right.
Well, so anybody that's using those machines, pitching machines, in the entire state is sharing one guy. So if your pitching machine breaks down, which they do, right, brand new or whatever, they do, you have to wait until that one guy is in your area, in your town, in your whatever, when it's a priority. So it could be months. Right. Right? And that's what these kind of contracts, because, look, it's just a machine. There's all kinds of people out there that can work on pitching machines, that can work on, in this case, ice cream machines and whatever. It's just a machine, but it's per contract, right? Right. So they're making their money off of the broken machines instead of the upfront you paying for the machines, right? Correct. And the Johnny Harris is the guy whose video I'm talking about. If I remember, I'll include that in the description, a link to it. Mm-hmm. But what they kind of figured out, or he kind of figured out, was the company that owns the ice cream maker is publicly traded. And if you go through some of their documents, they talk about how they developed a reoccurring revenue model, because selling the machine one time, let's just throw out a number. I don't know what a machine costs. Let's say it's $15,000, right? And let's say, but you sell the machine to McDonald's once for $15,000. They don't need another one from you for forever. 5 to 10 years. Let's say it's 5 to 10. But they sell a maintenance plan, and that's where they're making their recurring money. They
don't sell a maintenance plan. They force you into a situation where they cut a deal with McDonald's, where the franchisees, so other franchises, Chick-fil-A, Burger King, they use machines from the same company, but their franchises cut a different deal with the company. So their franchisees don't have this ridiculous situation where, and there's these kind of funny memes that go around of the different billboards or signs that small town restaurants, McDonald's in one small town put up a sign that says, "We sell chicken sandwiches on Sunday," and the Chick-fil-A in that town put up a sign that says, "Our ice cream machine works all the time."
Which I don't want to interrupt the, billboard gangster market. You know what I mean? Going after each other. I don't want to interrupt that. However, what this has brought up is essentially a slew of lawsuits around what they're calling right to repair. Right? Yes. Right to repair.
Which is a much larger conversation in the growing technology. The more and more technology becomes a part of our life, the more and more we're stuck in situations where Apple doesn't want you tinkering with your computer, right? And there's two reasons. Part of it is they want the experience of owning an Apple machine to be so amazing that they don't want you ever having to think, "I'll crank this thing open and put some new RAM in it." But also, revenue for them, right? Tesla's in the same boat.
People are having automotive industry has been trying to move to this for years, where they have been making cars more and more difficult to work on for your average everyday mechanic by putting more and more technology into them and things like this nature that your average mechanic doesn't know how to do, can't do, that they're not certified to do. They tried to do it with warranties years ago by saying, if you have an outside mechanic work on it, we're not going to warranty it after that. And then that led to lawsuits, and they backed off on that and that kind of stuff. This right to work, or right to repair thing, is what it boils down to is, do you as an individual, when you purchase something, whether it be a computer, a car, or an ice cream machine, do you have the right, now that you own it, to turn around and have someone else repair it? right? Do you have that right? Because if you have that right, then these contracts that say that you have to go back to me to repair it are null and void, right? When you get into rights, what are your rights as an owner of something, right?
It's a complicated concept too, because I know guys who own, I don't know, but I'm saying there's an issue with people who own certain kinds of tractors and farm equipment.
Right.
Where they're saying, now I have to wait for the John Deere guy to come out here to fix my whatever machine. But hey, in the meantime, I don't control how crops grow. My crops are ready for.
That was another lawsuit under this same umbrella. Do you have a right to work on the tractor that you bought and purchased? When there's not enough. Because there's not a problem when there's enough technicians, right? Correct. If you had a technician on every other block or whatever, but what you were seeing, like in the farming industry, is they weren't able to get their crops out of the ground because they're waiting months for a tractor guy.
Yeah. And so it has created a cottage industry of a two-pronged cottage industry where there's guys who are like, hey, we'll pull out all of this, whatever management on your thing, and we'll stick an open source system on your tractor so that whenever you need help, you can just go download it over the air, whatever. You don't have to always have a certified John Deere guy or whatever company it is coming out there. And it's created a cottage industry of people finding older farm equipment that's just right before, like it's right prior to. So it's technologically advanced enough, but it's not like, it's a backhoe.
It still works.
You got a
Yeah, but look, and guess what? It's not the mechanic's fault either, because guess what? Like the credit card industry, they're beating up both sides. They're beating that guy up on his rates to get the contract so that he always has a job with them, right? Going around, right? They're doing that to him or her, right? And charging you. So they're beating both sides up, and that's where really this story, it's really not about ice cream machines. It's about this right to repair is what it's really about.
And it's about manufacturers looking to capture long-term revenue from selling a product, right? You sold a product and you want long-term revenue, which they're trying to move into what I would say is product as a service, right? Which is, you're seeing car companies doing this now too, where Volvo offers a deal where you just pay a flat rate and, you want this Volvo this month, a different Volvo next month. You don't own a car, you lease from Volvo. And they, and it sounds good on the surface of it, but the long-term ramifications could also be that, when you want your car or whatever, there's somebody says you're not allowed to have it.
Well, one of two things is, to kind of wrap this up, one of two things are going to ultimately happen. Either the government or the judicial system, between all these lawsuits, is going to decide that you have a right to repair, and it's going to make all these contracts null and void, or consumerism will work the way it's supposed to, like Danny says, in a free market, where people will find, enough people will say, well, screw you, I'm not going with you as a company then, that those companies will become obsolete. One of those two are going to happen. Ultimately, everything should be able to be worked on by people that own them, wrong, or otherwise. It's just the way it's going to work out.
So there's a YouTube channel called Rich Rebuilds, and he's a Tesla tuner mechanic guy. And one of the issues he always has is Tesla doesn't want to sell him parts to fix their cars.
Right.
They want him to go to Tesla and have them fix it. And guess what? I've come out of the Fast and Furious era of automotive customization. And the one thing that pisses me off about the electric future that I'm seeing is, hey, I want to customize my car, dude. Right. I want to lower it. I want to lift it. I want to do whatever it is I want to do with it. Once it's mine, and that used to be the American spirit of owning anything, was that Harley Davidson's a great example. Like,
absolutely.
You go to Harley, and going to Harley is like buying a Camaro in the 60s. Right? You can, you bought a Camaro in the 60s, you can put whatever thing you want on it.
You can add to, you can take away, you can, and the aftermarket availability of things that you can do that fit the Harley design and whatever
and
are almost infinite, right?
And
Absolutely.
They want you to do it. They want you to customize their thing.
I think this is like everything else. There's an ebb and flow to everything that happens.
Right.
We've gone too far with the no, it's too custom to work on, it's too whatever. And now that pendulum will swing the other way now, where it'll become way more automatic. I think you're going to see it in the electric car market. I think you are going to see aftermarket kind of modifications or whatever. And I think as electric cars become more and more popular, again, I think that's what causes it, is people are going, well, I'm not buying that Tesla if I can't also do this. That's not going to avoid my warranty. That's not going to, you know what I mean? Because right now, that's what Tesla's about, right? Like, there are companies out there making, I've seen stuff like pop-up campers that will attach to these new Tesla SUVs and stuff like that. And they basically, no, you add anything to this Tesla that's not by Tesla, it voids your warranty and we're not going to work on it, right? Or we're not going to do anything to it. But they can right now, right? That's always business, is what can you get away with until you can't. And I think popularity is what controls that. And I think that's what this is going to fall under.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, to that end, when it comes to the kind of electric car thing, Ford is going to be selling a crate engine that's electric. Right. And I think that's what's going to, at least in that one vein, in that one vertical for electric cars, I think that's what's going to change it is the traditional car companies going more electric, realizing, because they already have a system of like, all right, we have certified parts, and then, you know, if you go to an ASE certified mechanic, we have to honor the warranty because you use the correct parts, you went to a certified mechanic, blah, blah, blah. Right. Nonetheless, this story is, again, it's not just about the ice cream machines at McDonald's, but now, you know, you can go to McBroken.com. We've been informed, right? And
what the story's really about, right? Which is the right to repair.
Correct. Totally.